Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
We have got Mark Armstrong up first. Mark, if you want to go ahead.
Brian, we were just talking to Taman about having to just watch football the last 2 weeks. I'm assuming as a player, you're also a fan of the game. And does the game look at all different given the crazy circumstances of how all these teams had to get ready for the season? Are you seeing a different brand of football, or does it all look the same to you?
You know, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a different brand of football. I think at the end of the day, you're going to have players that want to play. And, I mean, it is interesting. You do see a good bit of upsets recently. And there's been some, favorites that have been getting upset. And it's just you can tell when some teams maybe aren't as prepared. And so that can show up sometimes. But at the same time, watching a lot of games, it's fun to watch. So I do see not that much differences in some teams just coming out and being ready, having fun playing. So.
Thank you.
Ross Martin, go ahead.
Hey, Big Turkey. Just wondering how good it is to have Joshua Zudu back alongside you and his role in like the chemistry of the offensive line.
Oh, it's great. He was back practicing today, and we had a real good time lining up next to each other. And it's just his role is really just having even more depth on the offensive line, and especially at the guard position, something that we can, confidently roll guys in. We got Ed, we got Josh, and, other guys that we can just consistently roll in. But, I mean, having him back today, it was just fun being able to get back and communicate with him and play off his tendencies. So definitely good to have him back.
And Coach Brown and Phil Long have spoke about his versatility and his athleticism. What makes him a special offensive guard? And he plays tackle as well. What makes him a unique offensive lineman?
He's just got great feet and great football IQ. I mean, there's a lot of times where, the defense will bring a blitz and we got to react on the go. And Josh just has the ability to quickly kind of think and redirect, and that's something that, as a center, playing off of his tendencies too, we do a good job of working together with. So.
And finally, with 3 weeks between games, I think the goal has been to try to get to 7 or 8 guys who can go out and play. Where does that stand right now? And is there a younger player that's stepped up and kind of become a guy you can count on if you need to against Boston College or Virginia Tech or et cetera?
I think we got a pretty consistent rotation right now. I haven't really noticed particularly anyone that's shot up in terms of maybe taking a starting role, but I mean, we definitely do have some rotation going on. So I'm feeling confident going into Boston College with the group we have.
Okay. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
All right, Aaron Beard, go ahead.
Hey, Brian. I know you guys were game prepping for Charlotte up to Thursday of that week, but 2 straight weekends without football. I guess I'm sure you watched plenty of football. Did you do anything else to sort of break up the non-football time that you maybe normally would want to be playing?
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 weekends I did spend a lot of time just kind of resting and watching games. And, it's something that's very, very bittersweet. Obviously, as a player, you want to be out there and you want to be playing ball. And it hurts when you work so hard for a 12-game season and to know you have a game taken away from you right on the day before you play. It can be pretty tough. But at the same time, it's sweet in the fact that, it is nice sometimes to sit down and just watch games and stuff like that. And I mean, other things, I like to spend time outdoors and do things like that. So anything I can do, if I get an afternoon on an off day to, maybe take some time to reset for the next week coming up is something I like to do.
Thank you.
Okay, Luke Buxton, go ahead.
Brian, what's up, my man? Going off that question, as a leader on the team, as one of the older guys, how do you ensure that you guys kind of are still enclosing a bubble with 2 weeks off? I feel like when you're kind of out of the football routine, there's some leeway for people to maybe go and, not keep the same routine in terms of coronavirus restrictions. How do you guys, as leaders and older guys on the team, kind of make sure everyone's following your lead?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just our responsibility to make sure, like you said, everyone does kind of stay together. And so what I like to do is just kind of, have our guys that are kind of in a bubble, we kind of hang out with each other and obviously following protocols and things like that. But any opportunity we can get to be with each other, at the same time, it can build chemistry. Because, I mean, these are very tough times, and obviously you don't want to be totally locked in your room isolated. But, I mean, as long as you're following protocols, it's nice to, hang out together. And that's something that we can do to kind of maintain our bubble, but at the same time still get a little social interaction.
And you mentioned outdoors. Is Ross's nickname Big Turkey an actual nickname, or is that just Ross being weird?
Ross is a weird guy. In all respect, I'm friends with Ross. No, he just, like I said, I'm an avid hunter and outdoorsman. So I think he saw a picture of me with a turkey one time and coined it Big Turkey. So.
I love it. Cool. Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
All right, let's go to Greg Barnes.
Hey, Brian, what stands out to you from watching BC tape?
What stands out to me is they're just a very well-coached team. You look up front on their defensive front, and they have a lot of guys that are very effort guys and have good second effort. I'm very impressed with some of their front guys and how they continue to pursue the ball after the ball's been snapped and maybe even after the ball's been run out of the picture of the box. But at the same time, I mean, you look at their size. If they're not necessarily having 6'6" and 6'7" all up front across the board, but I mean, if you look at them, they definitely play with a chip on their shoulder, and they got some guys that can really fire off the ball.
And on a completely different front, you've been dealing with COVID protocols ever since you returned to Chapel Hill back in June. It's kind of a daily thing. Are we at the point now where it's unfortunately kind of a normal thing, and it's not, in terms of the protocol aspect, it's not as big of a deal as it was at one time?
I'd say it's not as big of a deal to follow the protocols. I mean, you see me right now with the mask on. It's weird. I'll watch TV sometimes and see groups of people without masks on, and it feels wrong. You know what I mean? But at this point, we're all kind of used to it, and so it's just one of those years. It's just a little adversity, and you just got to adapt and overcome. And I think that's something that everyone's got to do in sports or in life or something like that. So I mean, you're in public, you throw it up. I mean, it's just a little weird, but I mean, yeah, I'd say it is kind of the new norm, and I think a lot of us are used to it at this point.
Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome, man.
All right, Brian, thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate it. Yeah.